let me tell you a little bit about the significance of complete technology transfer for existing helicopter engines that India has partnered with France on, and the agreement to build an all-new helicopter engine jointly to power India's future multi-role helicopter. It's very, very significant. Like I said, and I keep repeating myself, this is something that goes way beyond just showing the money and buying aircraft from another country. This is called a partnership. This is called putting money together and jointly developing an engine that each country can actually use. Take a look at the significance now. This is the Indo-French Shakti engine that powers all three of India's active indigenous helicopters in the military. That is the Dhruv, the Rudra, and the one you see in the picture, which is the light combat helicopter, or the Prachand as it is named now. Now, what India and France are talking about right now, and there could be an announcement when the Prime Minister is in Paris, is full technology transfer of the engine that's been built for over 2 decades jointly between India and France. But now, full technology transfer to India is what France is considering. Number 3, India controls the full production of that engine. That's what the end game of the current talks are likely to be. And this visit by the Prime Minister will add a huge boost in that direction. Number 4, as a result of this full technology transfer, India acquires full know-how of helicopter engines. Remember, India does not have a 100% Indian helicopter engine right now for various reasons. It has partnered with France very effectively on the Dhruv, the Prachand, the LUH that's coming up, and the future IMRH will have a variant of this engine which will be pretty new but also a derivative. But finally, this is a big leap, viewer. This is a huge leap, because what India and France will now do is co-develop a new engine for that future helicopter. And it's a very, very ambitious task. It's a very complicated task. It requires a lot of money, requires a lot of know-how between the two countries, but they do have a lot of experience, like I said, dating back to 1961. Gaurav, the helicopter relationship between India and France is almost as old as the combat aircraft relationship. Dates back to the 1960s. Large parts of India's helicopter fleet have always been of French origin. So this is very big. Total technology transfer of helicopter engines and an agreement to build an all-new engine for India's future multi-role helicopter.
Shiv, you're absolutely right. This is actually taking the relationship altogether to a new level. In fact, I was told by sources that this is a relationship where even sky is not the limit. The cooperation is from space-based assets, from protecting our assets in space, to subsea, subsurface, cooperation with submarines and undersea domain awareness. And in between comes this very critical partnership, Shiv, when it comes to aircraft engines and helicopter engines. Again, the Cheetahs, the Chetaks, the Warhorse, the Alouettes that the Indian Air Force and the Indian Army flew in Siachen and in the northeast, virtually the Warhorse of the Indian Armed Forces in carrying troops, men and materials, especially to high altitude areas. You, Air Marshal Chopra, and I have all flown on board these Chetaks and Cheetahs in Siachen and in the northeast. Now, these Hepters will come with more powerful engines, and those more powerful Shakti engines will be completely manufactured in India. Again, Shiv, the Prime Minister's focus, from what sources were telling India today, was certification in India, so that future generations are able to not just have the know-how, but certify this is the best, and certification that the world will appreciate for export in future. So big dreams, small steps being taken to realize those massive dreams to make India a very big military hardware manufacturing powerhouse.
And a manufacturing powerhouse is the ultimate, aim for many of these projects. Air Marshal Chopra, helicopter engines, the Indian military hungry for helicopters, huge number of orders in the pipeline. Over 300 of these Indo-French Shakti engines are already in operational service on different helicopters. That's a wrong image, but we've got images of the Dhruv helicopters also on our screen in just a moment. But it's incredible how things, when they reach a level of maturity, when the two countries can think about co-developing an engine and then complete transfer of technology. How significant is that, sir?
Firstly, I must say that Chetak Cheetah, we have built nearly 400 of them. They are still flying. And you know that there's a version of Cheetah which has got the turbomeca engine for Siachen Glacier, only 15 of them. But today, let me correct your figures. Shipped today more than 400 ALH variants, whether the LUH, LCH, the attack helicopter Rudra. Yes. 400 are flying with two engines, most of them, other than the LUH, which will have a single engine. So the number of helicopter engines already built are very, very significant. You have today orders for 1,000 engines. That's the kind of requirement, because the three services helicopter requirement orders are phenomenal, absolutely. And you rightly mentioned that IMRH, which is the next helicopter. We all saw the display at Aero India, the static display. It is the next step. Me-8, Me-17, they all have to be replaced by this helicopter. The state governments, the private, large number of others require this helicopter. Yes. So big numbers are required. And there is a need for more powerful engine, 2 of them for this. So the numbers are going to be very significant. So we have imbibed the production technology of the turbomeca and Shakti engines. Now the next step is to go to the next higher level. And that is why it is better not to do transfer of original technology of the Shakti engine, which we are already producing, but to do a new engine, which will be our intellectual property. And therefore, I think it's going to be a huge step. This is a new thing. Till yesterday, we were not aware of this. But you people are now telling us this is going to happen. I think this is going to be very, very, very significant. And any engine that's built by us together from the drawing board stage makes a huge difference. The reliability of the French engine, whether they are on the fighters in Mirage 2000 or the Rafale, is very well known. Our ALH engines have never let us down, even if there have been some other small technical hitches here and there. So clearly, you have chosen the correct people, the correct country, the correct company, the correct designs that will greatly support the helicopter ecosystem in the country.